Well, I came in because I seem to keep having problems with the teachers out there at the school with my kids with their grades, with them getting the correct grades that they've earned. And it seems to be a continuing problem. I had the problem with my daughter, and now she's graduated, and now the problem has started with my son, and I'd like for something to be done about it.
Okay. You mentioned a problem with the grades. Can you tell us a bit more about what the problem
Yes,
is?
my son is an A student, and he's an athlete, and I've always had to stay on the teachers about his grades. I guess because he's an athlete, then he gets stereotyped, and since he's black, he gets stereotyped that he's a dumb jock. In fact, last year, basically that's what one of the teachers said when she gave him the wrong grade. She gave him a 65, and he deserved an A,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that that was typical of her jocks, and she had given him 10 zeros and wasn't going to change the grade. Said she was not changing the grade. And when I went out to meet with her, I had already gone by to talk with guidance counselor, and I wanted to speak with the principal, and they told me to see if I could work it out with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to meet with her, and I had my son with me, and I demanded to see the grades. Why? Because I had my copy that you can go on Gradebook to get that, print out that copy, and the copy she had sent home, and it did have 10 zeros down there. And I asked her what were the zeros for, and every one of those 10, she said that they weren't turned in. And what I do when a homework assignment or report is due, I make a
Mm-hmm.
copy of it before I let my son turn it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a copy with me, and she looked on her desk and she found all of the copies. So then she told me that she would change the grades. But she had put 10 zeros in, and it given him a 65. So then whenever I got the report card and I went out there, she said that was typical of her jocks. And then told me that she was going to change the grade, but the grade, and she didn't give him an A, by the way, because she said something about that one of them was turned in a day late, so she had to take some points off. So she ended up giving him like an 88 or something like that. And she said that the grade would be changed whenever the second semester came out. When the second semester came out and I got the report card, it was the 65 still down there for the first reporting period, then his next grade down, and then they had averaged the two together for his semester grade. And it took a time. I had to basically go talk to Mr. Obita to get the grade changed, because at that point she told me why did I wait so late when I went back out, because she had forgotten. So
Okay.
because of that, this year, last week, when he got his report card, when they sent out the progress report, he had a 96.
Okay.
Um, when the report card came out, and there was a 5 day period before my son showed it to me, because he said he knew that I would what he called overreact, because she had told him in class that she was going to change it. When I saw it was a 77. So of
Okay.
course that got my attention. I went out to talk to her. These were two different teachers. And this
Mm-hmm.
was junior year, and now this is senior year. And she said that she would change the grade, but it would take until the next reporting period. So I
Okay.
don't want to run into that problem again. Um, this is his senior year. He needs his average for college, so I
Okay.
want something done about
Okay.
it.
Okay. I understand you just say that you're having a problem with your son's grades and with the teachers, and you have seemed to have gone through the proper steps and the proper channels to get this problem solved. And I understand that. Um, and that shows that you're a very caring parent, mother, and you're very concerned about your child's well-being and what
Always.
direction he's taken in school. Tell me about a time when um, the grades weren't such a problem and things were going good. Tell me about a time when he was in school when things were going really great for him.
That would be in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was the only time when he was at East Robinson, because when he was at Littlefield, as well as my daughter Caitlin, I had to go out there. I stayed out there so much. I think some of the faculty probably thought that I was still teaching, because I am one of those teachers. I'm one of those parents that my husband and I are very concerned about our children's their well being, and especially education in our family is very important. So yes, I make sure by being a former teacher that if you don't stay abreast of things and make sure that you stay on top of it, then it goes too far, and then nothing is done. So the only time that I can remember when I didn't have any problems at all with his grades was elementary school. Once he hit Littlefield with fourth grade, there seems to have always been a problem that even when he got the grade and he was striving for the A, they've just changed, of course, they've just changed the criteria for an A. But even when an A was 93, he would get the 90, or he would get the 91, or I remember my daughter, they would get the 92. They wouldn't get the A. And of course, always when I would talk to the principal, talk with the teacher, the principal always would say, well, the teacher can only give him the grade that he earned.
Okay.
So that's the thing that I would hear. And maybe there was something that you weren't aware about, maybe a grade that he didn't show you. There's no such thing as a grade that they don't show me, because if they would talk to my kids, they know I'm in their book sites.
Okay.
I'm checking on a daily basis to make sure, and I'm going out there so I can keep up with the grades with the teacher. If I know, I look and I see what is due for that week, or when the reports are due, then I'm making sure that it gets in, and then I follow up and go out and check with the teacher. Was that assignment turned in? How did he do? And I say, well, haven't had the opportunity to grade it yet, Miss Secretary, but I will get with you. So yeah, it seems to be a problem that I shouldn't have to make sure that my child is getting the grade that he earns. Why can't he just, and he's quiet. My daughter would talk. She's more of a people person. He's someone that you won't even know he's in the classroom, and a lot of kids like that.
I see that he's not here with us today. So let me ask you, how important is it on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest? How important is it to you for your child to succeed at the highest level that he possibly can?
Oh, 10, exactly. Yes, with no questions, hands down, a 10.
Okay. With him not being here, how do you think that the achievement level for him, 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, of showing importance, it would be to him?
That would also be a 10, because he knows what he wants to do. We raise our kids so that we've always, in our family, it's a family of educators, so they hear people talk about incomes, lifestyles, different type jobs on a Sunday basis, and then they hear my husband and I talk about it on a daily basis, and they get interested in that, and then we try to expose them to education as far as your living style, your lifestyle will be dependent upon your income.
Okay.
So they understand that.
Okay. Now, just say that you would go home tonight and you would lay down and go to sleep, and just miraculously, when you wake up in the morning, that a miracle has occurred and things are different now. What would that look like? What would that look like if you would go to sleep tonight and just a miracle happened overnight? How would things be changed? What would that look like?
A miracle, like, for example, what are you talking about? A miracle as if won the lottery, or?
No, with what's going on in your situation, a miracle has happened and things are different now. So tell me, how would things look? How would things be better?
Oh, if a miracle would occur, then of course I wouldn't have to follow up with teachers as much, and I could relax more, and my son could have a better year where he doesn't have to worry about um, not getting the grade that he
Mm-hmm.
has earned, and it would be an ideal situation. That would be wonderful.
Okay. Um, how will you know if things are better? What's um, one particular thing you can paint that picture for us? How would you know that things were different? How would you know that things were better with the relationship with the teachers or with the grades, the grading that your son is receiving now? How would that look?
I think it would be uh, all of the above, the
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the teacher and with the grade. And I think now he's starting to come out of his shell more because he used to be extremely quiet. He's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna carry on a conversation with you
Mm-hmm.
the um, unless there's something that, like for example, at the end of the grading period when he asks about the grade after he see that the
Mm-hmm.
grade is posted, he's the kind of child that if he turns in a project um, and a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks has gone by, and I said, what'd you get on the project? He said, I don't know, she hadn't graded it yet. I'm the kind of person that I try to teach them, initiate that conversation, ask the
Mm-hmm.
teacher at the end of class if a week has passed, have you had the opportunity to grade the project yet? Have you graded mine? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would rather that I would be able to tell if he could start opening up that conversation more, and I would know because he would come home and say, "Oh, Mama," and he'll like sometimes he does do that. He'll come home and say, "Oh, here,"
Okay.
because once I contacted the teachers, some of the other ones in the past, then he would come home and there would be a paper where they'd be
Mm-hmm.
ran off, photocopied me a copy of a
Mm-hmm.
project, of an assignment,
Mm-hmm.
of a test, because I want to know. I don't like surprises. I don't want to find out at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the semester, because we've been through that before, that
Okay.
he has a 65 and now
Mm-hmm.
that 65 got to stay down there and I got to work backwards trying to get it changed and trying to go through proving that he earned the grade. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would be ideal.
Okay.
And I would know if the teacher could possibly, like I always ask them, and they say, well, I have other students, Miss Singletary. I don't have time to
Okay.
just send you something like that every day. Well, no, don't send it to me every day, but
Mm-hmm.
put it on the computer where I can pull it up when you put your grades
Mm-hmm.
in, so I can pull it up and I can see, okay, he got this for that
Mm-hmm.
grade. That would work out a whole lot better for me. Then that way I'm able to see, I'm double checking. That's keeping the teacher so that they're
Mm-hmm.
double checking, because we as adults, we forget. And it makes
Okay.
Anthony more
Okay.
responsible because he's gonna be graduating soon. And
Okay.
once he graduates, and if that average is not there,
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
go back and change it.
Okay. I hear you saying that um, you're concerned about the grades that your son Anthony has been getting, and um, I also heard you say that he is very quiet and that he does not speak up for himself. Um, how do you see, um, and you say that he is a senior now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you see that when Anthony graduates, how do you see that down the road in the future that he will gain some confidence um, and boldness to start speaking out for himself and being able to approach his teachers and to be able to take care of checking on his grades and his activities for himself, because I do understand and I do hear that you are very concerned about his grades. How do you see in the future that this could possibly change for Anthony, that he could become more outspoken for himself?
That's one of the things that my husband and I, we've talked about that, because he's uh, going to be graduating
Mm-hmm.
in June, and so we're praying that he'll be turning another year older
Mm-hmm.
in April. So we're prayed that he will mature more, and then over the summer, that by the time college starts, that he will be reached another level of maturity, so that he will be able to speak up more for himself, because we won't be with him when we've talked to him about that. We won't be with him at college, so he's going to have to be more outspoken. And I try to give him a little more rope that I used to as the years have progressed. I used to go out and check on him bi-weekly. Now, since he's a high school senior, I don't go bi-weekly. I usually wait until I think there may be a problem, or if I haven't heard about a project or don't have an average, then that's when I go. And I try to remind him, I tell him first, I said, Anthony, you need to ask your teacher. Ask your teacher, check with her, and he'll say, oh, I'll ask her tomorrow. Because he's an athlete, so he usually gets in late. And his famous words are, oh, Mama, I forgot to ask her, but I will tomorrow. And I always remind him, you're going to have to start speaking up and ask, because we won't be in college with you. So that's one of the things that we're trying to give him a little bit more responsibility, because I don't want to have to be going out there. I'm definitely not going to do that in college. And I've held it over his head that if he doesn't get a little bit more proactive himself and being more outspoken, the college that he doesn't want to go to, I told him he'll be going there. And so he can be closer to home. I said, and that way we'll be able to help you do those things. And then that usually helps him out a lot. He said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go. He wants to go to the college of his choice and not have to go to one closer. And then being a senior and knowing that his mama be out there checking on him, that embarrasses him, and I don't want to put him in that situation. So that's why I don't go as much as I used to. But when it comes to him maturing, yes, that is a must. That is a must. He's got to come out of that shell and take control of his own grades, if you will, not just do the work, but stay on top of him to make sure he's getting the grade that he earned.
Okay, I hear you saying, that, and I understand it. It's a very big concern about his grades, about him possibly acting more maturely. So let's set some goals for you, and as well as for Anthony. Some homework, as you will, to work on. Let's set some goals for you and Anthony. Let's say maybe Anthony can journal daily, keep a calendar with him, and jot down important things, something he can keep in his book bag. Jot down some important things for that day, for that particular class, and then reminders today, what he's going to be responsible for. So journal some things at school, jot down and journal some things at home. Maybe there's some task or something that he needs to do at home, and that will sort of help him to keep himself reminded of things that are important to him, as far as remembering his assignments and following things that he's supposed to be doing in class, so he can keep up his grades. And I'm saying, I heard you say that he is playing sports, so I guess that's very important to him to be able to play sports. But that's something that we can do for homework. And maybe next time when you come back, you can bring Anthony with you, and we can talk some with him and see how some plans or something, how important his grades are to him, and making those grades and achieving stuff is to him, and how important it would be to him not to have his mother to, we don't want you to follow him to college, but to not have his mother to constantly guide him. But this is something that he can work on and you can work on. You said that you wanted to give him some rope and give him some leeway, since he's going to be going off to college soon. But if you just start off with a journal, or start off with a calendar, a planner, or something that AJ can sort of help him guide and keep himself. And instead of asking him, what have you done, you can just say, well, when you come in for today, AJ, just leave your planner on the counter and let me review your planner, and just give him that and help him to feel like he he's accomplishing something on his own, and he doesn't need his mother to do the thinking for him, that he's doing something for himself, and he's taking responsibility, that he's um, jotting the stuff down in his planner, in his journal, and you just want to check over the journal or the planner and just let him guide his time in high school. And we'll go over that the next time when you come back in.
Okay. And he would have been here today, but he had to go home, and he has an online class.
Okay.
So he went back to work on his online class material.
Okay. It sounds like he has a very full schedule.
He does.
Okay.
He does.
Well, that's some things that we can work on the next time that you come in.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.